Hello and welcome to this bonus video in the How to Reduce Stress and Overwhelm video series. So I had so much information I wanted to share with you that I just couldn't fit it in to 5 days. So here I am again with a bonus video all about mindset. So your mindset has a huge role to play in how stressed or overwhelmed you feel. And so there are a couple of things that I want to cover with you today as regards your mindset, such as perception, the stories that you tell yourself, and whether you live from a victim or a victor mindset. So let's start with perception. Now, how often do you find yourself saying, "Oh, I've got to do this today. Oh, I have to do this today. Oh, I really need to do that thing today." It's not a very positive mindset to have, especially when, for so many of us, a lot of the things that we have in our lives, we have chosen for them to be there, and many others would be so grateful to have those things in our lives. So I'd like you to try out, maybe for a day, switching that around and saying, I get to do this. I mean, even just the energy of saying that, it changes my physiology. So try thinking about the things that you have to do and say, I get to do this. Maybe it's cooking some healthy food because you're on a new regime to improve your health. Maybe it's working out, getting in touch with your body. Maybe it's sitting in a traffic jam, being able to listen to the radio or an audio book. Just start to think about how fortunate you are to have many of the things that you have in your life and the fact that you've chosen them to be there. And if you find that even saying, I get to do this, really does not change the way you feel about something, then it is time to seriously consider what you can change about that thing. Can you get rid of it from your life? Is there something that you need to change in order to help you feel more positive about that element of your life? And then I'd also like to talk about meaning, the meanings that we give things, and this ties in very much with the stories that we tell ourselves. So nothing has any meaning unless we give it a meaning. And the meanings that we give things are based on our perceptions and the lenses that we see life through, that we were brought up seeing life through, that we have learned to see life through. Now, I know that this might be a tricky one to accept initially. I certainly still struggle with the fact that I'm the one giving meaning to anything, but when I think about it, I have to admit that it is totally true. That the meanings I give to anything, to the way somebody says something, to what somebody says, to what somebody posts on social media, to how somebody's acting in a meeting, the meaning I give it is based on my perception. So for instance, you might be in a work situation constantly worrying about your performance and thinking that your other colleagues, your manager, etc., are also unhappy with your performance based on your perception of how they behave with you, how they speak to you. Maybe you believe them to be upset with you, when the truth could be that they're highly stressed and actually it's the pressure that they're under that is causing them to act that way. So what I would like you to do is to start questioning that meaning to begin with, and also, if possible, have conversations with the people involved. So I have a couple of examples that I can give you. So firstly, really silly example. One year, it was my birthday, and on Facebook I got like barely any messages, no messages whatsoever, and I just thought, oh my goodness, nobody likes me. Nobody wants to wish me a happy birthday. How awful. And made all kinds of meanings up about different people that I was working with or I was close to who weren't wishing me a happy birthday. And then I went into the office and one of my colleagues came up to me and said, "Oh, you didn't tell us it was your birthday. I didn't know." And I said, "Well, it's on Facebook." And she said, "Well, no, it isn't. It's not public." And I went onto my Facebook profile, and sure enough, there it was. My birthday was not public knowledge for people. So what the meaning I had created was completely based on false information. And thankfully, that colleague pointed it out to me, and I realised what a numpty I had been, quite frankly. And another situation, I had some friends who were talking in front of me about going out for dinner and what they were going to do and when they were going to meet. And I thought, oh, well, that's not very nice for them to be talking about that in front of me, and they're not inviting me. And then when I saw the photos go up on Facebook, I realised it was somebody's birthday, somebody that I didn't know, and hence I wasn't invited. So I made up all these meanings that just weren't true. So that's a little bit of an insight into my psyche, but I hope that it's been useful for you to be able to apply that to your life and see where you might be inventing meanings that just aren't there based on your own perceptions, your own insecurities. And getting rid of those meanings and ambiguities can help us to reduce the stress that we experience in our lives. And alongside meanings come stories. So what stories are you making up about your life and what's possible for you, what's happening for you? We can see things in a positive light or a negative light sometimes, and it just totally depends on who we are, what our experiences have been, as to whether we take the negative bias or the positive bias. One person could see something one way, one person can see it a completely different way. So just start to challenge any negative stories that you might have, and also start to think about what would life be like if the story I had, the belief I had, was the complete opposite to this. What would life be like? And make a list of 10 to 20 of your most unhelpful beliefs and stories. Flip them around to a positive version and just start to think about, what if this version were true? What if I've been living by a version that is completely of my own invention? How would my life be different if I believed this empowering story? And I remember Terry Cole, one of my favourite coaches, saying once, if you're going to make up a story, at least make it an empowering one. And finally, I would just like to bring you back to your power, to get you back in touch with the fact that you have choice, you have power in most situations. Now, a man called Viktor Frankl wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning, based on his time spent in a Nazi concentration camp. And in that he said that everything could be taken away from man apart from his ability to respond in any given situation in a way that he chooses. So we get to choose our responses. Nobody can take that freedom away from us. And I know it is not always easy, but perhaps now your self-awareness is increasing, you can start to think, okay, how could I see this differently? How could I respond differently in this situation? And I encourage you to start thinking of yourself as a victor rather than a victim. So if you have fallen into a habit of believing yourself to be the victim in life and in situations, that you don't have any choice, you don't have any control, just start to recognize that that is a very victim-based mindset, and that you have more control and more power than you think. It's probably just that you've been worn down, you're tired and overwhelmed, and dealing with all of the physical things that we've talked about previously will help you to start feeling more powerful again and help you move from victim to victor. So I hope that that video has been helpful for you as always. If you do have any questions or comments, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. And if you feel like it would be beneficial for you to work with somebody regarding this topic or any other area of your life, please do get in touch. I am currently taking on new clients and I would love to hear from you. I will be sure to be back with you very, very soon, but bye for now.